So this is one of the toughest exam questions you'll get asked on the paper because it wants you to apply your knowledge to the situation. So the question is, using appropriate examples, describe the advantages of a relational database approach over a flat file approach. Now, what they're looking for in this question has changed from previous years. They're looking for 3 definitions, which are data consistency, data redundancy, and data independence. Now, in previous years, they've asked for data integrity, but they've taken that off the mark scheme. And because this is an 8-mark question, they're now looking for something else as well, okay, which is that a relational database is more secure than a flat file. So you're going to talk about security and you're going to discuss hierarchy of passwords. Okay. Now, you get 1 mark for talking about security in terms of hierarchy of passwords. To get these marks up here, you need to get the definitions right, which obviously you all will because you've been revising them. So data consistency is using one file to hold a central pool of data, avoiding the need to enter that data twice. But you already all knew that, so there's your mark. And data redundancy refers to the unnecessary duplication of data. Again, there's a mark. And data independence, which is the data and the applications used to access it are independent or separate. It's up to you which one of those you want to finish it with. So if all you know about this question is that you need to put those 3 definitions and talk about hierarchy of passwords to ensure security, you're going to get half marks, which is great on a question like this, but we're going for full marks. So to do that, you need to give your expansion points. In terms of data consistency, what they're looking for is that if a company holds all its data in one file, it doesn't need to be changed in another, so it's consistent. So the company will hold all its data in one file, so it doesn't need to be changed in another. Meaning the data is consistent. So all you're doing there is basically at the end repeating the question. So you want to be given an example, and with this example we're talking about a company keeping all its data in one place, so it doesn't need to be entered twice. Okay, so there's your second mark. In terms of data redundancy, you're basically saying what would happen if a company did hold it in more than one file, which would that every time you updated something you'd need to update it in another place. So you want to say there that a company holding data in more than one file will need to update the data in multiple locations, which is obviously the opposite of data redundancy, which is that we only want to enter that data once. So your example is going to be, what is the sort of, if they do have more than one, what are they going to need to do? And they're going to need to update that data in a number of locations. And then the last one, data independence. We talked about this in class in terms of the data can be moved from Microsoft Access into Microsoft Word to do a mail merge, or it can be moved into a spreadsheet to do a graph. So all they're looking for here is that new systems can use the existing data. So if we put a new piece of software in, you would be able to move that data into it. So we've got 6, we've got 7 marks so far, and for that last one, you want to give an example of who would have different access. So a receptionist would have less access than, say, a manager, who would be able to access all the information about their clients. Okay, whereas the receptionist might only be able to access their basic information, like their contact information. Okay, so you could add something there. So they would be able to access their contact details. So straight away you can see where you're getting the marks. You get 1 mark for that definition of data consistency, and then you're talking about the fact that if you hold it all in one file, you don't need to change it. Is consistent. Glad I clapped. And then data redundancy, again, given the definition and given your example. Data independence, you're talking about the fact if you introduce a new piece of software, that data can go straight into it. And then security and hierarchy of passwords, give an example of 2 different levels of staff and what access they would have. So there is your finished answer.